Welcome to the Gold Collection, a 24-carat guide through A to Z, shining the spotlight on the best of the best from the world of entertainment. G is for Glitterati, Gargantuan, Generous, Gemini, Governess'S, Gallant, German, and more. The Gold Collection is brought to you by the letter G, and G is for Glitterati. Let's take a look at some of Hollywood's most fashionably famous. Top of our Glitterati list is Madonna. Sexy, sassy and stylish, Madonna first made a name for herself as an international singing sensation. This singer, actor, author and mother appears not only to have done it all, but to have done it with grace and style, and of course in a designer outfit. Whether she's making a guest appearance on a TV series or at a music awards ceremony, one thing's for sure, and that's that Madonna has the ability to overshadow any event with her strong personality and eye for the media attention. Our next Glitterati beauty is Scarlett Johansson. Known for her wit, wisdom and maturity, she delivers each role with an unexpected amount of realism. Movies aside, Scarlett is known for her stunning fashion. It was her classy style and individual grace that saw her become the face of Calvin Klein. Whether she's dressing up or dressing down, she manages to look simply beautiful, instantly joining some of Hollywood's most fashionable glitterati. Penelope Cruz takes the final place on our glitterati list, and after gracing the red carpets in outfits like these, it's easy to see why. The Spanish sensation is a talented, gifted and determined actress. She has worked tirelessly to create a name for herself and has now become one of the hottest stars in Hollywood. Once voted one of People magazine's 50 most beautiful people, Penelope is more than just a pretty face. She is one of the best in the business. Her standalone features and natural beauty see her shine as only the glitterati can. G is for Gargantuan, and these stars are as big as they get. No, we're not talking about Tom Cruise's ego, but referring to film monsters like King Kong. In 1933, audiences were first visually exposed to Kong as he stalked Fay Wray to the top of the famed New York skyscraper. With the growing technology in the film industry, director Peter Jackson took on the challenge to reinvent the classic in 2005. King Kong is the story of a group of explorers and documentary filmmakers who travel to the mysterious Skull Island, only to find that Kong is a real creature. No! And if Kong doesn't get your heart racing, then maybe Godzilla is your cup of tea. Ever since emerging from the Pacific Ocean in 1954, the movie monster has thrilled audiences and has become a highly recognisable icon. Godzilla, who crawled out of the sea after being awoken by a US atomic test, has starred in 28 motion pictures. It may have destroyed dozens of neighbourhoods and terrorised thousands of people, but Godzilla still has plenty of fans the world over. And while we're speaking of scary moviegoers, you can't go past prehistoric dinosaurs. The film Jurassic Park followed scientists who developed a way of recreating dinosaurs by using DNA taken from preserved insects. The theme park doesn't go to plan, and the dinosaurs continued to scare audiences over 3 movies. So if it's gargantuan, fast and showing its teeth, either turn around and run, or get someone to pass the popcorn. G is for generous, and these celebrities just keep on giving. Benefit concerts have become ubiquitous in these troubled times and have, over the years, proven to be an effective way to raise money and awareness of any issue.
As you all know, it's a special benefit concert.
It all started with the concert for Bangladesh, organised by George Harrison in 1971. In the early 70s, millions of refugees had fled Pakistan to neighbouring India to escape hunger, disease and bloodshed. Alerted to the scale of the suffering by his friend and fellow musician Ravi Shankar, George organised the concert for Bangladesh at Madison Square Garden. In 2005, after the devastating effects of Hurricane Katrina, New York once again hosted a benefit to raise money for the people of New Orleans. The event featured big names such as Elton John, Paul Simon and Elvis Costello, but the heart of the bills were New Orleans acts from the Meters to the Neville Brothers. Tickets for the show, which lasted 5 hours, ranged from $50 to $500 US. Money was also raised via pay-per-view television sales of the event. All proceeds went toward rebuilding efforts along the Gulf Coast. Bob Geldof, who was behind the Live Aid benefit that raised $100 million US for Africa's starving, was at it again in 2005. 20 years after Live Aid, he organised Live 8, this time pushing for a doubling of aid to Africa, forgiveness of debts and fairer trade rules. Over 1 million people listened to rock and pop musicians at venues across 4 continents to demand that leaders of the Group of 8 industrialised countries meeting in Scotland relieve African debt and boost aid. The generous people at these benefits raise millions of dollars for those in need. G is for Ginger Rogers. Screen legend Ginger Rogers was a performer from childhood. While audiences know her for her blonde hair and graceful dancing, fans remember her for her natural acting ability. After appearing in advertisements as a child, by the time she was a teenager, Ginger was a professional dancer. It wasn't until her 20th film that Ginger began making a name for herself. In the 1933 film Flying Down to Rio, Ginger was paired with Fred Astaire. The couple were a hit. Her youthful looks and mischievous persona saw her play characters much younger than her years. Even though Ginger went on to have a successful solo career, fans fondly remember her mesmerising dance floor routines in films like Top Hat. It was Ginger's energy and charisma that saw her dance her way into everyone's hearts. G is for Gemini, and for this topic, we're turning to the stars. The stars of entertainment, that is. Our first Gemini is actor Johnny Depp. Born on the 9th of June 1963, Johnny is a typical Gemini. It's no secret that Johnny, like every Gemini, has an overactive imagination. It takes a special kind of actor to play characters like Edward Scissorhands, Willy Wonka, and Captain Jack Sparrow.
You know what you're doing, I'll give you that. Excellent form. But how's your footwork?
Adaptable and versatile, it appears that there is nothing Johnny can't do.
You're welcome. Not you, we named the monkey Jack.
Born on the 28th of May, Pop singer Kylie Minogue is a youthful and lively Gemini. Never one to sit still, Geminis are always travelling, and Kylie has been just about everywhere. A perfect mix of yin and yang, a Gemini should be able to see both sides of an issue, and after weighing up between her acting and singing career, Kylie chose singing. It turned out to be a wise choice. Kylie went on to have 20 consecutive top 10 hits in the UK. That's because a Gemini can never be boring. Our final Gemini is legendary singer Paul McCartney. Paul is known the world over, not only for his part as one quarter of the Beatles, but also for his successful solo career. As a Gemini, he is a great talker and the life of the party. It's no secret that he is a fantastic entertainer and always in demand socially. Geminis are known to be courteous and generous towards the poor and suffering, and from his list of selfless charity work, it seems that Paul is the typical Gemini. G is for Governess. Our first governess is Maria, from the classic movie The Sound of Music. The film tells the real-life story of the 7 Von Trapp children, their widowed father, and the free-spirited governess played by Julie Andrews.
Doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles. Adieu, adieu, to you and you and you.
Julie's role in The Sound of Music earned the actress an Oscar nomination. It was backed up against Andrews' other signature film, Mary Poppins. The two movies were filmed almost right after each other. Mary Poppins tells the story of a lovable nanny who flies out of the windy London skies and into the home of a no-nonsense banker and his 2 charming but mischievous children. Hoping to bridge the gap between them, practically perfect Mary Poppins turns every chore into a game.
In every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun, and snap! The job's a game. And
the film itself is considered one of Disney's greatest achievements, winning Julie Andrews an Academy Award for Best Actress.
Very clear to see.
By 2005, it was time for Mary Poppins to move over. Nanny Mcphee was the governess for a new generation of children. Recently widowed Mr. Brown struggles to bring up his ill-behaving 7 children who have managed to drive away 17 nannies. But with the appearance of the 18th candidate, Nanny Mcphee, the little rascals finally meet their match. While Nanny Mcphee doesn't have a carpet bag, she does have warts and a single front tooth. G is for Gallant, and who could be more gallant than the Man of Steel himself, Superman? Originating from the planet Krypton, Superman was raised in a town called Smallville. While only a child at the time, as he grew, he developed the ability to see through walls and fly. The role was famously brought to life on the silver screen by Christopher Reeve, who played a courageous Superman and his alter ego, dorky Clark Kent. Superman was certainly gallant as he fought criminals and helped the helpless. Errol Flynn is another actor who played gallant characters. On screen, Errol would play a freedom-loving rebel fighting against injustice and winning the hearts of damsels in distress as he went. His most common damsel was Olivia de Havilland. The two appeared together in numerous films, including The Adventures of Robin Hood, Captain Blood, They Died with Their Boots On, and Santa Fe Trail.
I'm completely crazy about you.
What?
No, wait a minute. Let me finish. I needn't warn you about army life. The pay's bad.
His dashing mannerisms and his enchanting charm saw Errol continually cast in gallant roles.
Oh, be serious, will you? This might be the most precious moment in our lives.
Our final gallant character is Mark Darcy. In Bridget Jones and its sequel, The Edge of Reason, Bridget finds herself trapped between the sexy cad Daniel Cleaver, played by Hugh Grant, and the human rights lawyer Mark Darcy, played by Colin Firth. Mark Darcy gallantly comes to Bridget's rescue as he tries to protect her from Cleaver and his alternate agenda.
Bridget Jones is fine.
Darcy, I thought you'd been dumped. Will you step outside, please? Oh, no, it's not possible.
He must have loved me.
And who wouldn't want Colin Firth protecting their honour? G is for German. Our first famous German is designer Karl Lagerfeld. One of the most outspoken designers that the fashion world has to offer, Karl's eccentricity is as legendary as his snow-white hair. With the launch of his own name label, Karl combined strong tailoring with easy-to-wear garments in his favourite bright colours. His attention to detail made sure the fashion designs were always moving forward. For decades, the talented German designer has been one of the most celebrated visionaries in the world of fashion. Our next German is one of the original supermodels of the early 90s, Claudia Schiffer. Claudia was raised in Rheinberg, Germany, a small town about half an hour outside of Düsseldorf. She remained in Germany until she was spotted by a talent scout and flown out for a photo shoot in Paris.
I have nothing to say to her.
Her subsequent years travelling saw her learn to speak fluently both English and French on top of German. Claudia considers herself typically German, as she never lets anything go to waste, a lesson instilled in her by her German upbringing. Our final German is Helmut Newton. Newton, who was born in Berlin to Jewish parents in 1920, began his career with a photography apprenticeship in 1936. 2 years later, he fled Germany for Singapore and went on to settle in Australia before returning to Europe in 1957. The photographer made no secret of being colourblind. Most of his photographs are black and white. His pictures of erotic women often caused controversy. So, you see, there's much more to Germany than just beers, bratwursts and Beethoven. G is for golf, a sport that's not just for swingers. You could say golfing legend Tiger Woods has $1 million smile. That's because each time he walks the fairways of the world's best golf courses, he's getting paid. No wonder he's smiling. That's just one of the many things you can command when you're the world's #1. Tiger did, however, start putting at an early age. When he was 2 years old, he appeared on TV on The Mike Douglas Show, putting against bunnyman Bob Hope. After just 5 years on the professional circuit, Tiger became the first ever player to hold all 4 professional major championships at the same time. Our next swinger is golfing star Annika Sorenstam. Annika received unprecedented media exposure for a female golfer when she took part in a PGA tournament at the Colonial Club in Fort Worth, Texas in 2003. She was the first woman to compete in a PGA Tour event since Babe Zaharias in 1945. Annika is the 6th woman to achieve a career slam after Mickey Wright, Louise Suggs, Pat Bradley, Julie Inkster and Carrie Webb. Who said golf was a gentleman's sport? And what's more interesting than famous golfers? Well, the golfing famous. None more so than Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. Despite his enormously successful career in entertainment, Bob once said that golf was his real profession. Show business just paid his green fees.
For a minute there, I didn't think you had a ball.
Tough luck, old boy. You're one down.
Bing Crosby was also a fan of golf and reportedly turned down the role of Columbo, fearing that coming out of retirement would interfere with his game. Bing's love of golf carried right through until the end. While playing on a course in Spain, he passed away aged 74. His famous and appropriate last words were, "That was a great game of golf, fellas." G is for greats, and these are a few of cinema's best. John Wayne, nicknamed Duke, appeared over his lifetime in hundreds of films. He first graced the silver screen in the 1920s. While no one realised it at the time, John would go on to become a Hollywood icon. While starring in a variety of genres, from comedies to drama, the name John Wayne is synonymous with westerns. He would ride horses, race across open plains, fight with guns, and of course, win the girl.
Not me, mister. From now on, I'm a farmer.
Composer and lyricist Irving Berlin was arguably one of the most significant songwriters to enter the entertainment industry. His talent for songwriting gave the world Always, Blue Skies, White Christmas, and Cheek to Cheek.
And I seem to find the happiness I seek when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek.
Not only did he pen universally recognisable songs, but they were sung by some of Hollywood's best voices, like Judy Garland, Fred Astaire, and Bing Crosby. Another great actor is Sir Anthony Hopkins. Never before has the movie world experienced the chills given by Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, and never before has there been a greater on-screen villain than this man. His performance earned Anthony an Academy Award and a BAFTA, with Hannibal considered cinema's #1 villain by the American Film Institute. Anthony is a true acting genius and will always be known as one of the greatest actors of all time. That's all for today. Next time, the Gold Collection will help you through the letter H.